I'm Phil Gaimon. I was a pro cyclist for 10 years, and the dream is the Tour de France, but I never got to do it. So now, 10 years retired, I'm going back. I'm going to tackle the best climbs in the Tour de France, and I'm going to win the Tour, because no matter how fast I go up the climbs, I'm enjoying the food, the wines, the culture, and the people. And I'll put my routes and links to points of interest in the description, so you can win the Tour de France too. Thanks for following along. I mean, merci. The first stop on Phil Wins the Tour de France is the Col de Tourmalet in the town of Luz-Saint-Sauveur. Did I say that right?
Luz-Saint-Sauveur.
Luz-Saint-Sauveur. Luz-Saint-Sauveur.
Luz-Saint-Sauveur.
In the town of Luz-Saint-Sauveur. When you look at the map, you're going to think you should fly into Barcelona because it's close. The reason you're not doing that is this giant mountain range called the Pyrenees that separates Spain and France. So you fly into Toulouse or Pau, and then it's a bit of a drive. This town is kind of remote. But good news, our co-host / cameraman for this whole France series is Mike Cotty of the Cole Collective.
That's me.
You literally lived here, Mike.
Yeah, I was here for 5 years, running cycling tours at the time. And the Tourmalet was one of the local routes which we would do.
All right, ready to show me around?
Absolutely.
Yesterday you took us up to Gavarnie.
Gradient is about 5% all the way up, about 20 k's to Gavarnie. And there you've got just this huge cirque, big rock face. It's the border to Spain, amazing waterfall, nice river running down as well.
A UNESCO World Heritage Site, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous.
It was beautiful. And on the way to that, you will not miss this bridge. This is the Napoleon Bridge, based on the guy who built it with his bare hand. The N is for Napoleon, right?
Yeah, bare hands. Took him, I don't know how many 100 years or something. No,
he stood all the way at the bottom and he just held it up.
Yeah, he built it, I think it was 1860. Basically,
how'd you know it was 1860?
I think it might give it a little giveaway there. So yeah, and he built this bridge to join these two valleys. So you've got the gorge and the river running down, and it's about a 70-meter drop. So before the bridge was here, just crossing here was quite treacherous.
And you said there's bungee jumping here?
Yeah, they do bungee jumping here most days. I'm hoping we got time. Oh, come on.
No.
I want to see you jump off.
No, I'm going to lose my baguette.
I think Napoleon III did a pretty good job when he built this bridge.
Yeah, well, solid. Yeah.
That's two of us, like, we're moving this thing.
Oh, yeah, it's good. This is a super small town. You had an interesting story for how it gets its name?
Originally, when some travelers came over, they saw a little light in the distance. And as they got closer and closer, it was the village of Luz-Saint-Sauveur. And they named it Luz after the old word light back in the old days.
Oh, would you look at who arrived here? Emily, this is Mike. Hey, dude, what the fuck? What's we doing, Brahms? The jet lag, as always, is real. I woke up at 9:30, and when that happened, I knew that Emily was going to be sleeping hard.
It's my superpower.
I actually thought you might lap me. You might do a whole night around. It's going to happen one day. Next stop is the Templar Church.
Yeah, built in the 12th century, fortified in the 14th century, and this is renowned for its awesome crenellations.
What's a crenellation?
You don't know what a crenellation is?
Crenellations, Phil, how old are you? You've gone nearly 40 years and not knowing what a crenellation is? This is unbelievable.
All right, that's enough.
A crenellation, you see these like little spiky things? Don't you? Yes. That's a crenellation, right? So basically, when it was fortified, you can now hide behind there and you can fire out arrows between them and then hide behind it when the opposition fires back. So that's a crenellation. Yeah. Interestingly enough, though, the whole shape of it, you've got these crenellations, which we all know what crenellations are. But it's also built in a polygonal shape to make it even harder to attack. So, like, imagine just building this thing out of hand, out of like stone.
I'm sure that the builders were well compensated.
Note, the serfs had a rough life.
So there are a ton of like hotel rooms around here. It's all like ski chalets. This is a big skiing area, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Pyrenees in general is not huge for skiing compared to the Alps and like bigger, maybe Park City and stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, you've got a few chalets in town, but as you'll see, like, I don't know, what, 1K out of town was pretty much in the wilderness.
So this area, skiing, hiking, nature.
And that's one of the great things about the Pyrenees. It's very much wild, rural. It's not as built up. It's not as commercialized. There is actually a saying like the Pyrenees is for the purists. The Alps is for the tourists.
Oh, shots fired at the Alps. Sorry, arrows fired at the Alps.
From the crenellations.
From the crenellations. Put in the summer, this is all cyclists, right? I saw like a ton of bike rental shops in town.
Yep, yeah, it converts over to cycling in the summer. Actually, up here, you'll pass, there's like a mountain bike park as well. Pyrenees is still super quiet, which is nice.
Of course, a big part of the history of this area is the Tour de France and the Tourmalet climb.
In town, there's actually a kilometer zero sign, and then handprints from some pros over the years.
It's like a walk of fame in Hollywood, but for bike dorks. Tomorrow, we'll see how good of a time I can do. We're doing a little recon today. And then I was done with my effort. We were kind of at the halfway point, and Emily said,
Fuck it.
fuck it. She wants to go to the top.
We're going up. I've got my good luck shit on my right knee here.
Emily got shit on by a bird at the bottom.
It was one of those days that it's so nice out, it's hard to stop riding. But I was thinking about saving my legs for tomorrow.
All right, Mike, how far do we have to go, approximately?
5.79k. Yeah, we're going to hit a few more switchbacks.
Okay.
Get some good views down into the valley.
When you say we, it's not going to be me.
Okay.
That's too much for me today. Yeah, I'm going to bail.
So yeah, I ditched my wife.
And hung out in, I got the travel jet boots. Emily came back a couple hours later. Once you got above the clouds, there was no visibility.
Yeah, I couldn't even see any views. I mean, it was awesome. It was ominous. It was epic. At one point, we heard some cowbells, and then we just look over, and there's a bunch of sheep.
There he is.
And it came out of nowhere.
But you got to the top.
I got to the top, and it was awesome. I'm glad I did it.
Nice work.
Yeah.
After a freezing descent, Emily deserves some warmth and recovery, and nature had a solution.
One thing you have to do in this area is check out the thermal baths. These are naturally occurring pools coming out of the heated groundwater deep from the Earth's core. So you've got minerals, and it's supposed to be rejuvenating to the muscles if you have those, and good for the soul. I learned that thermal baths, regular American swim trunks, are not okay. Fortunately, they gave me these. You gotta take a shower before you go in.
And when you take a shower and fresh, you just, what you call it?
I wasn't sure if it was okay to film in there, so please enjoy some stock photos of attractive people from their website. What'd you think, Emily? You have a good time?
Yeah, the pool could have been warmer.
Agreed, the pool could have been warmer. It wasn't cold, but it also wasn't like, I was expecting jacuzzi hot.
Well, there
Right?
was also a jacuzzi.
There was also a jacuzzi, there was a sauna, there was water in all phases.
Yeah.
There was a cold plunge.
Cold plunge.
It was a great experience. There was a lifeguard.
Easiest job in the world.
I'm gonna apply. It was only 35 euros for 2 people.
Yeah.
And my banana hammock, if you want the full experience, when you go in there, if you rent one as I did, you could get mine because they didn't let me keep it. I washed in there. So we could be closer. We could be very close.
You could have his ball germs, is what he's
Oh,
saying.
come on. Okay. Emily did find a plant corner for us.
Emily's Plant Corner.
What do we got?
So here we have the white asphodel, also known as the branch lily or king's spear. They're pretty plentiful within a certain range of altitude here on the Tourmalet. It grows about 50 to 120 centimeters tall. Its flowering period extends from April through June. In ancient Greece, these flowers were associated with mourning and death. Its presence was held to facilitate the transition to Elysium, which is also known as the afterlife. Its roots were used as a food staple in ancient Greece, and they were planted on graves in order to provide nourishment to the dead.
The next morning, the weather was clear and it was time to go. My setup for this is old school, the Factor 02 VAM rim brake bike. This is the first frame that I got from them back in 2018, and it's still going strong. The bike's getting a little lighter every year, of course now protected by Invisiframe spray. It's the smooth and reliable Shimano Dura Ace Group, Pro Stealth Superlight saddle, S-Fire carbon shoes, and tubular wheels with 24C Kenda tires pumped up to 110 PSI. The whole setup weighing in around 12 pounds or 5.4 kilos. I literally hadn't ridden this guy since Haleakala. You see, for training at home, I want all the brakes and wide tires I can handle, but for pure KOMs against the literal best in the world, when the average speed is less than 15 miles an hour,
Sometimes I like to go full weight weenie.
I did have some aero advantage with my Starlight speed suit, safety first with a lightweight laser helmet, and style second with the Equay France edition sunglasses. And as always, first endurance EFS in the bottles. Finally, I was ready to go as soon as Emily was done with these puppies. Okay, let's do it. Oops, almost needed the disc brakes there. So the kilometer zero is literally in the center of town at the River Baston. The literal translation of Tourmalet means bad detour, but I didn't find it that. There are actually two ways up the Tourmalet. We chose this side because it's a little more scenic and overall steeper, meaning I have more of a fighting chance against a drafting peloton. This way starts with a long drag out of town, but a steady gradient. Pretty much 7% the whole way up, but with a rude 10% kick at the end to make sure you've emptied the tank. Pretty quick, you're in the countryside and the first hairpins. You go through a small town. Depending on the time of year, this is your last stop to top off your water or stop for a coffee, maybe trade one type of pain for another.
Jog now. Remember, this is one of the steepest sections. Keep the tiger in the cage. You got about 300 meters, then it's going to flatten off a bit.
Next, you hit the ski area. In the summer, I believe there's some services and water there.
The road was open year-round, but the official opening is the first Saturday in June,
which includes a parade, full closure for cyclists, and the statue of Jacques Godet is brought to the top, who was the director of the Tour de France from 1936 to 1987. Once you're above the ski area, you can see the old road, which was washed out in a flood in 2013.
so that's the new road at the bottom and the old road in the center.
The whole climb was punishing, of course, but so peaceful, so green, twisty, narrow road, incredible views, only a few motorbikes and buses. Above the first ski area, there's another set of hairpins, and I was blessed with clear skies and good views of the sheep in the valley, which, you know, maybe I'd get to enjoy on the drive down, because this is worst retirement ever and I'm suffering.
What's up, guys?
Gotta say bonjour to the guy on the Brompton. I have to admit that I'm not super proud of my pacing on this one. I don't have any delusions that I'm faster than the guys at the top of the leaderboard here. The Tour de France has raced up this 91 times, more than any other climb. But you never know when you're competing against times set in a race. Of course, they have the advantage of drafting, but sometimes there's attacks and surges, and I've surprised myself a few times. I had the live segment on my Wahoo computer, which shows where I am relative to the fastest time. And for the first 15 minutes or so, I was only 5 to 10 seconds down. That got me digging a little deeper, a little earlier than I should have for ideal pacing. I should mention that I did a great training block at home leading up to this, not to toot my own horn, but solid hours and numbers even by pro standards, building up to 24, 27, and 30-hour weeks, with threshold and tempo intervals pretty much every day. If you want to dig into my Strava during April and May, you'll see posts about my CoachCat app AI training plan. That's why I kind of went quiet on YouTube here. I was doing my work and it went really well. I should have been capable for 370 to 380 watts for this one, but throw in some travel, jet lag, off the charts pollen count in this area, some altitude at the top. This is not the highest paved mountain road in the French Pyrenees, but it is the highest pass. Given all that, and then going a little too hard, too early, I had to make some, let's call it adjustments to that power target. I really backed off in the second half so I wouldn't fall apart near the end.
Okay, I've got 2K to go. As you get the last moment of respite, you get a tiny moment to catch your breath on. And when you go around the right-hand corner, it's going to kick up 10%. So save a little bit on that moment of respite and then give it everything.
When I Googled it for the map, I noticed that the Pyrenees have 4.6 stars on Google. That's funny to me. Maybe a lot of folks with pollen allergies.
This is it. Allez.
I didn't really have a goal time, but 56 minutes put me in 49th place, which, if you scroll through, that is the fastest time not set during a Grand Tour. Probably not enough to get my handprint in town, but I'll take it. I did apparently have enough legs left for this guy who dropped his motorbike.
So I did not get the KOM, but I still win the day because I get to go home with the podium girl. We have a nice dinner planned tonight, and tomorrow I have to suffer it all. So I'm there. All right, let's go to dinner. But first I got to take a douche, right? Douche?
Of course, there were lots of restaurants in town, but when you're in France, you've got to do at least one real French dinner. I'm talking sit down at 7:30 and they serve you a coffee before you leave at midnight. Mike used to run tours out of this house nearby, and he sold it to a Michelin-rated chef who now runs a hotel and restaurant there. Here Mike is catching up with his old neighbor, a great guy who has strong opinions about certain Tour de France riders. Chef Christophe is a real character, served us 4 courses with beef from the farm across the street, trout from a stream nearby, vegetables from his garden. Everything is so fresh and local and perfect. I'll put a link for this place, but wherever you are in France, or the world really, try to find something like this. Do the thing, eat everything they serve you, even if you're not used to how it looks, drink whatever they recommend. There's meals and there's memories.
Car is packed. They got everything. Next stop, 1, 2.
We're ready to go make some more.